What's going on, and welcome back to the channel. So the new BRZ was released this morning, the 2022 model. It's supposed to go live in the fall of 2021. Now I'm going to tell you guys why the 2022 BRZ is just not a good car. So overall, the style, let's get into the styling first. Overall, I think the front end looks like a weird combination between an ND Miata, a 400Z concept, and the current gen BRZ. It doesn't look like any crazy styling revisions have been done from the current model. It looks like they added a weird body kit to it. The rear end, like if I go to this rear end picture, if you look at this, it looks like a Honda CR-V crossover. It's just not, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. The current generation looks 1,000 times better, and I say this now, but in 3 to 4 years, I guarantee you when there's Pandem and Rocket Bunny ones driving around on the streets, they're going to look significantly better, and people are going to fix the weird styling changes that Subaru decided to do to this car. Now, as for the specs on this thing, I am completely let down. Subaru, you've had 10 years to get this BRZ to a point where people are can be incredibly happy with it. You've had so much consumer feedback. You've had so much information from enthusiasts about what we want to see out of the next one, and you give us this. So the new BRZ is going to come with the FA24. It is going to be naturally aspirated, like I've been talking about. The FA24 in the BRZ is going to be different than that in the new STI and in the new WRX, but this does give us some good information about how much horsepower the WRX and the STI will be making later down the road if we do some calculations and compare over the delta between the FA20 and the FA20 DIT, but I'll talk about all of that in a later video. But with this one, 228 horsepower, is not a good enough bump in my opinion. I literally cannot justify buying this car. 228 horsepower. The current model makes 205. You're getting a 23 horsepower bump in power. 23 horsepower, and it's still naturally aspirated. We've all been wanting a turbo model. Now, Subaru said they're not doing a turbo model because it's just going to cost too much money. How is it going to cost too much money if you have you already have a turbo platform? They already have this engine in the Ascent that makes more power than this. It makes like 266 horsepower in the Ascent. They're saying that the MSRP is going to be around $29,000 to $30,000 in this new BRZ. I don't see how adding the turbo model from the Ascent into this is going to drastically increase price. I mean, I feel like it's just a cop-out on Subaru's end saying that they don't want to turbocharge the car. I feel like if Subaru did turbocharge the BRZ, it would take away from sales on their WRX and their STI platforms, which they don't want to do. But here's where things become interesting, is that it's just, you cannot justify buying this car when you can go out and you can buy a 2016 or a 2017 BRZ for literally half the price of what this new one is going to be. You can add a little bit of forced induction to it. You can buy a supercharger for these cars for like $4,000. You buy one for we'll say $16,000. You buy a supercharger for $4,000. You're $20,000 invested into it, and you're making a lot more fun. You're making a lot more power, and it's a lot more fun with forced induction. I don't see this being a huge enthusiast selling market. I could see people buying this just as someone who might want a small coupe as a daily driver who might not be super big into cars. It's an interesting platform, but I don't think it's going to sell very well in Subaru's eyes. Now, overall, for the interior of the car, the interior does look a lot better than the current models. I will give them that, but it doesn't look like they changed much. It looks like they altered the dash a little bit to give it a more newer look. It looks like they added a new infotainment screen, which honestly I could care less about. I swap all of the screens in my cars anyways because the OEM Subaru ones are pretty trash from the factory anyways. And they added a little bit more bolstering to the seats and swapped out the gauge cluster. Aside from that, it looks like the exact same BRZ interior that we've known and loved for the past 4 or 5 years when they did the last change on them. But I'm incredibly disappointed by Subaru on this one. They've had 10 years to work on the BRZ platform, and I was heavily considering getting this new platform up until these specs were released. There are not enough significant changes to the car to justify spending $30,000 on it when you can go buy the current generation for half the price, do your own modifications, make more power, and have more fun of a car. I can see people doing FA24 swaps into older BRZs when their motors die, if everything compatibility-wise lines up pretty easily. If it becomes too much of a drawback or too much of an issue, then I could see people staying away from that and just building the 2 liters. Now, the FA24 is another Toyota-designed engine in conjunction with Subaru, so it still does come with port injection and direct injection. But like I'm saying, you guys, 228 horsepower, it's just not enough of a change to justify buying this car from the current models which you can buy significantly cheaper. Like, if you're a huge fan of the styling, then maybe you just buy this car for the styling on it. The wheels look like Miata wheels, and the front end I'm just not a huge fan of. Now, something that people were kind of hinting at over the past couple weeks when Subaru initially released their teaser video was that the BRZ was going to have rear wheel steering. We haven't had any confirmation on that yet, and I hope that it doesn't have rear wheel steering. When Nissan tried to do that technology, what, 25 years ago, it was a huge mess. A lot of people were deleting it because of the high kiss systems leaking power steering fluid, them failing all the time, and everyone just kind of threw them out the window and didn't want to use them. So hopefully they keep it simple, because that's what we love about the BRZ GT86 platform, is that they are simple cars. Now, here's where things get a little bit different, is that the GT86 specs have not been released yet by Toyota. From what I've been seeing, which are still rumors at this point, nothing has been confirmed yet, is that the GT86 is going to be significantly different than the BRZ, and I think the GT86 is going to be a better way to go if Toyota actually differentiates themselves from the BRZ. But hearing that the BRZ comes with the Toyota Subaru collaboration designed FA24 with port and direct injection, I have a feeling the GT86 is just going to be as much of a letdown as the BRZ is. Honestly, I think this is where Subaru loses me with this one. I've been heavily contemplating snagging the 2022 BRZ pending the release of the information and the specs from Subaru, and this just kind of pushed me over the edge to where I'm not going to end up getting one. I've been heavily considering the BRZ or the 400Z from Nissan, and the 400Z from Nissan just seems like a much better platform to jump to when it comes time to trade in my 2013 BRZ. But it's just, I'm not impressed with it. I think it's a letdown from Subaru. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the styling of the new chassis? Do you like the new interiors? Do you think that it comes with enough power now? And what about the price? Even with all the older models out there that you can buy for half the price of one of these newer ones, would you guys rather have an older model like mine, or would you rather go out and buy this 2022 model? Let me know down in the comments, because we're all gonna have very different opinions. But I did want to give you guys my feedback from an actual enthusiast standpoint versus someone trying to push Subaru's marketing a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Subaru. I've had plenty of STIs, WRXs, and BRZs in the past, but I think at this point, this is where Subaru kind of loses me with it. I'm hoping, and I'm really hoping that Subaru doesn't do something similar with the new WRX and the STI platforms. If Subaru comes out and does something relatively similar where there's not a ton of changes, there's not a huge power increase, and there's not much of a differentiation from their older platforms over to their newer ones, I think they're going to lose me on the WRX and the STI platforms as well. I still have my 2017 STI and will always keep that one, but this could be the beginning and the end of when I start jumping ship for Subaru based off of what they start coming out with. So anyways, if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button and turn it blue like the Subaru. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet. And like I said, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. But with that though, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.